Well, hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. We are all in tonight with me, Alexandra Levine. We have major breaking news. Liberation Day in California today, folks. But was it really Liberation Day? Governor Gavin Newsom was consistently bashing President Trump, calling him a failed president. But isn't Gavin Newsom a failed governor? I mean, the majority of people have left his state because of high taxes, illegal aliens. I mean, this guy's got some real nerve to call out President Trump and call him a problem and a failed president. And we also found out how scared Gavin Newsom is of President Trump. And we also found out today the power of the president, the commander in chief, and how he worked with DHS and ICE and Border Patrol to get illegal criminals off the streets of California today. But of course, Gavin Newsom calls Border Patrol and ICE. He refers to them as Gestapo as usual. He patronizes Border Czar Thomas Homan as usual. But he is the one to blame. He's the one that brought the illegals to the rally. It's his fault. And he did it to, quote, try to make a point that President Trump is a dictator, he's a this, he's a that. And look at him arresting, quote, innocent people. They are not innocent people. These were illegal criminals. These are undocumented people that have been living in California for far too long, causing havoc. Remember Kate Steinle? Kate Steinle's law, which still needs to be passed, which hasn't been passed. Kate Steinle was murdered by an illegal criminal who was in and out of prison multiple times. That happened in California. What people need to understand is Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass are hypocrites and liars. But they're also afraid of the power of the president. They're afraid because President Trump is doing the job that we, the American people, voted him to do. I know I voted for what I saw today. When I saw Border Patrol and ICE, they went right to the mainstream media and the fake news and said, we're just doing our jobs. Because the politicians don't do it. That's why Border Patrol and ICE is in D.C. right now doing the job that the mayor, Bowser, she doesn't do. She'll never do because she doesn't care. It's these liberal cities and these liberal states that really want to cause havoc. And what did Gavin Newsom announce because he's freaking out? He called for a November 4th, 2025 special election to gerrymander the state of California, adding 5 Democrat states. And we found out that this has been in the works for a while. The state is already gerrymandered to hell. It's already a very liberal state. How much more liberal can he go? But he's trying to find a way so that he stays the governor. Or that whoever his successor is, will be as liberal as him. I believe that he totally cheated so that he could stay governor. I know for a fact that the people of California did not like him after his first term. And when I was in California in October of 2020, I wore a Trump 2020 mask and nobody said boo. They all took pictures with me. They all loved it. They all loved Donald Trump. I was at the LAX airport. I was at the rental car in LAX. And I went to different stores around Los Angeles wearing a Trump 2020 mask. We were required to wear a mask at the time. And everybody loved it. Nobody bothered me. Nobody tried to hurt me. They loved President Trump. That's why I wholeheartedly believe that President Trump won the state of California in 2020. But what is Gavin Newsom trying to do? He's trying to make lives more difficult for the people of California. And actor Mel Gibson said today that the people of California should do everything they can to remove Gavin Newsom from power as well as Mayor Bass. The time is now, guys. Take back your state or leave your state. But if you can't leave your state, it's time to revolt. It's time to get up off your butt. And it's time for you to have your Liberation Day. And this is the hat that Gavin Newsom is afraid of. Let's show the image. Trump 2028 hat. Now, this hat has been circulating for a while. People have called for President Trump to serve a third term. Steve Bannon is one of those people. My opinion, I wouldn't mind if President Trump was in there for a third term. There's a lot to be done. And we don't want to go back to the status quo. A lot of people are afraid that if we have establishment politicians or even certain Republican politicians in power as the president of the United States, things will go back to the way they were. We must have people there that will continue President Trump's agenda, the MAGA movement, and America first. And if it's not going to be President Trump, let it be his children. There's been talks of Donald Trump Jr. running in 2028, as well as Eric Trump in 2032, as well as Barron Trump in 2044. And I know people are like, oh, we don't want Trump dynasties. We don't want the dynasties because we had the Bush dynasty, the Cheney dynasty. But this is a different type of dynasty, and these are different type of people. The Trumps do not consider themselves politicians. They never will be. And they're the only ones that can really get the job done for we the people. And who can execute Trump's agenda better than his own blood? That's why I support President Trump's children running, because I know that they will do a great job. I know that they will keep America safe. They'll make America rich again and better. I know people are talking about a Vance, Marco Rubio ticket. We'll see. We'll see if that is the real solution to this country. But let's play the video.
I wasn't exaggerating when I said that I received in the mail a Trump 2028 hat.
So today in a press conference, Gavin Newsom said, this is really scary. President Trump is going to run a third term, and I received a Trump 2028 hat from some MAGA guy. And he's freaking out over a hat. And that video was President Trump with the president of Azerbaijan showing him that somebody made a Trump 2028 hat for me. They want me to run again. I don't know, but I keep it. You never know. I mean, it will completely change the Constitution if it were to happen. But President Trump is doing everything he can to show people the fraud, and that the 2020 election was a fraudulent election. We had a fraudulent person installed, a fraudulent vice president installed, and everything should be null and void. That's why President Trump is so involved with the auto pen and how the auto pen is an act of treason, that Joe Biden really didn't sign anything, that his minions did. They're saying that Jill Biden's staff did a lot of the signing. Again, who was in the White House? Wasn't Joe Biden making the decisions. He had dementia and cancer. So it was either Jill Biden or her staff. There's a lot of illegal activity that went on in the Biden administration. There's questions if Joe Biden was even in the White House. There's questions if they made a fake White House for him. And I'll tell you, the images of 2017 and the images of 2022 are very different. Very different. And then you look at the images of today of the White House. Very different than when, quote, Joe Biden was in the White House. Remember, he was the Manchurian candidate. And President Trump is doing everything he can to prove that Joe Biden was a fraud, that Barack Hussein Obama was a fraud. Barack Hussein Obama might not even be a citizen of this country. There's been multiple speculations of his birth certificate for many years. Remember, he called himself Barry Soetoro. He's changed his social security number multiple times. There's no records of him at Columbia University. My father wrote the book, How to Survive Obama.com, when Obama was the senator before he ran for president in 2007. My father literally wrote the book on it. It was a sold out book. Everything my father wrote is predicted today. So if there's any, well, I don't want to say speculation, but there's real evidence to back up that Barack Obama's birth certificate is fraudulent. The one that he put out in April of, I think, 2011, April 2011, when President Trump called him out. President Trump wouldn't just call somebody out unless he can back it up. Barack Obama is a very fake man with a very shady and fake past. And it's going to come out. It's going to come out. I told you, Barack Hussein Obama is the target. He thinks he has presidential immunity for committing treason. He doesn't. And he didn't do this as being a president, as he claims, oh, I was president at the time, so I have presidential immunity. No, he did this during a campaign cycle, spying on President Trump's campaign. And the minute that President Trump announced he was running, continued to spy. Then when President Trump was sworn in, inaugurated, he spied on him again with Comer and Clapper and Brennan and Samantha Powers and Valerie Jarrett and Susan Rice. I can tell you and possibly guarantee you that there will be indictments. President Trump has claimed, and I agree, that Pam Bondi has done a great job in the DOJ. There's a lot that she is doing behind the scenes that we don't know of. And with Kash Patel, the FBI director, and Dan Bongino, the deputy FBI director, there will be indictments. Justice will be served. President Trump is not going to allow these idiots, these morons, these treasonous people that spied on his campaign to get off scot-free. And Hillary Clinton is right in that mix. Not Bill so much, but Hillary. Even though Bill is a pedophile, went to Epstein Island, hung out on the Lolita Express, there's a lot there with him. A lot of exposure. But what President Trump and ICE did today in California was an act of leadership, showing the American people how Gavin Newsom and the mayor continue to break the law, and he's not going to allow it. And on a mainstream media outlet, there was a Illinois Congresswoman, Democrat, Representative Delina Ramirez. Let's hear what she had to say.
About that. I mean, for us members of Congress, for me, who is a daughter of immigrants, who half my family is still undocumented, watching.
So she literally ratted her family out. She said that half her family is undocumented. Well, guess what? I think I should be paying her family a visit. What a moron. First of all, her family shouldn't have been here this long. Second of all, she's a representative. She's a congresswoman from Illinois. Again, she goes against the Constitution of the United States, putting illegals first before her own. If I was her constituents, I'd be pissed. Her legal constituents, I'd be pissed. I'm sure she's got a bunch of illegals that voted for her. That's how she got into power. That's how a lot of these morons get into power, like Gavin Newsom and Governor Westmore and Mayor Brandon Scott in Maryland. That's how all these liberal morons, Governor Kathy Hochul, that's how they all get into power, because of illegals voting for them. That's why they need the illegals in their states and in their districts so bad. If they get rid of the illegals, oh my God, we'd actually have free and fair elections. Oh my God. It's sad. It's really sad that these governors, these mayors, these state and local officials continue to break the law, and they blame President Trump and his team for it. It is not President Trump's fault. It is not Borders or Thomas Homan's fault or Kristi Noem's fault. It is your fault, Gavin Newsom. It is your fault, Mayor Bass. It is your fault, Muriel Bowser. It is your fault, Wes Moore. It is your fault, Brandon Scott, for the crime that is in your state, that is in your district, that is in your cities. No one is to blame but yourself. When you don't take accountability, you look weak and you look like a wuss. Gavin Newsom looked like such a wuss today. Such a wuss. And Karen Bass had a freak out, a blowout, saying, oh my God, President Trump did this on purpose. This was orchestrated. He knew that we were having the press conference a week ago, and he purposely put ICE agents in here to arrest the people. You broke the law. They broke the law. You broke the law by bringing them. You shouldn't have had him in front of the press conference to begin with. You shouldn't have had him there. Liberation Day for who? Liberation Day for illegals? That's what this press conference was about. And they said that it was a massive crowd and there was going to be massive amounts of people. There was only hundreds of people. It wasn't a massive crowd at all. That's the lie. That's the fake news. I'm really glad that Real Reporters took a panoramic view of the hall in there. Unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, the effery. And they should not be subpoenaing these people. They should be indicting them all. They should all be going to jail. Again, there's a lot of treasonous people out there that will be held accountable. DNI Director Tulsi Gabbard is coming hard in releasing documents about Barack Hussein Obama and the treason that he's committed. Hillary Clinton committed treason as well. There's a guy, and I will repeat his name, and I was very happy when Bill O'Reilly repeated his name, because I said it first. I've said it first. I've tweeted it first. OANN has retweeted me. People do watch our show. Griff Jenkins is a personal friend of mine from Fox News. So is Newsmax. They all watch our show. They all are friends with me. I'm in the White House press pool. We all talk. I'm in the same X feed with all the White House press people. They watch my show. And I called it out that a man named Doug Band, who was the #2 guy to Bill Clinton, you couldn't get to Bill Clinton without going through Doug Band. He's from Sarasota, Florida, my hometown. He's a Jewish guy. He went to my synagogue with his father, David Band, who was an attorney. a disgraced attorney in Sarasota. He was sued multiple times. He was accused of racketeering. But I told you one thing about the bands. They all know how to cover their own asses, and they find a way to get out of trouble. So what did Doug Band do? He exposed Bill Clinton to a mainstream media reporter. There was a big write-up about it. And then he left his company. He was the CEO of a company called Teneo, and he was the head of a law firm up in New York. He had to leave his company, and he left New York. He's in hiding. He's in hiding. He had to leave his wife and kids in New York. He's in hiding right now because he exposed Bill Clinton. He told Bill Clinton not to go to the island, not to go on the Lolita Express. And of course, Bill Clinton didn't listen to him. But Doug Band needs to be subpoenaed. He needs to go in front of a grand jury. He needs to go in front of a huge group of people, a grand jury, subpoena Doug Band so he can expose the Clintons. Doug Band has nothing to lose. But the reason he's in hiding is because the Clintons, they do take care of those that disrespect them and talk against them. And that's why he's in hiding. But Doug Band needs to be subpoenaed. He needs to go in front of a grand jury and expose the Clintons once and for all. He can expose Chelsea Clinton too. He hates Chelsea Clinton and her husband. He hates the husband's family. Her husband's father is Jewish. They all are interconnected in their little corrupt world. And Doug Band knows the corruption. So subpoena him. Bring him in front of the court. And let's hear it from his mouth. If you can find him, if somebody and people can find him, bring him and let his mouth tell the story. Another guy that needs to go to jail. Breaking news. DOJ has evidence that Adam Shifty Shift, hashtag not my Jew, hashtag not a real Jew, hashtag never my Jew, committed many crimes per Congressman James Comer, the head of the House Oversight Committee. James Comer, let's do this. Let's arrest him. Pam Bondi, let's get the arrests going. Let's get the indictments going. Adam Shifty Shift is the target for Kash Patel and Devin Nunes. Adam Shifty Shift really hurt Devin Nunes' position. He lied about him, forced him to step down. And he hurt Kash Patel too, to the point that Kash Patel had to go into hiding for fear of his life. This was Adam Shifty Shift lying about things, committing many crimes. He claims he's a U.S. Senator of California, but yet he has a permanent residency in Potomac, Maryland. That's one crime. He lied about the Russia hoax. He went on multiple TV outlets, claimed he had evidence to expose Donald Trump, that he worked in tandem with Russia, that he was involved. He lied and said that he worked with Russia to rig the 2016 election. He said he had pounds of evidence. He lied to the American people, lied. All these liars need to be held accountable. All these liars need to go to jail. They need to be indicted, not subpoenaed, indicted. Indicted to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. As we said on the Pulse last night with the base mother, Elena Barbara, we should not be watching these people sit in front of House Oversight Committees, Senate Oversight Committees, Senate Judiciary Committees, and just listening to them for hours. It does nothing. We saw that with the Benghazi hearings. It did nothing. Hillary Clinton hasn't been accounted for. She's not in jail. The time is now, because if arrests aren't made, then this would all be for nothing. Arrests have to happen in order for things to really get done. President Trump got back into that White House to show the American people the fraud, the waste, fraud, and abuse. That's why he put Elon Musk in charge of Doge. There should be a Doge in every state nationwide, and Congress and the Senate should codify Doge. They should codify President Trump's executive orders. They're very powerful executive orders. But guys, if we don't hold these people accountable, if we don't arrest these people, they just keep getting away with it year after year after year after year. And if we don't get these Democrats out of office, they will just continue to cause havoc. Democrats, the socialist Democrats especially, are scum. They're the scum of the earth, and they want to hurt our country. Rhinos also are scums of the earth. They work with the Socialist Democrats. I've always said rhinos and Socialist Democrats are detriments to our nation. They do not give a damn about you. It is all about money. It is all about power. But guys, please, please be on top. Be on top of this and call people out when they are committing acts of treason and so forth. Now we go into segment 1. Segment 1 is honoring the worthy. But also segment 1 talks about holding people accountable as well. First slide, please. So again, rapid response. My friend, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, I'm making DC safe again. Overnight, there were 45 criminal arrests made. In addition to that, there were 29 illegal aliens who were removed. If the Democrats had their way, there would be hundreds more criminals roaming free. And that's true. That's very, very, very true. As I said, President Trump has put in the Washington National Guard, the DC National Guard, with Pete Hegseth. And there's been interviews, ton of people I've talked to, they said, I feel safe now for the first time walking through the streets of DC. They like the fact that there's law enforcement. They like the fact that there is the National Guard. They like the fact that they can walk down the streets and not feel unsafe. And Judge Jeanine Pirro is cracking down on minors that are hurting innocent American lives and being tried as minors instead of being tried as adults. And of course, we found out that the Democrats, especially the local Democrat officials, keep lying about the numbers and saying that the crime is down. They lied about Baltimore being safer and that, we haven't had as many homicides and there isn't that much crime. BS! There's crime everywhere. It's not 85% better. It's not 75% better. Maybe like 1% better, which sucks. I know that the streets of Baltimore are unsafe. I drive down Dundalk Avenue. Dundalk Avenue is on the border between Baltimore County and Baltimore City. You, as a white woman, hanging out in off Dundalk Avenue by yourself late at night, even at 10 o'clock at night, you will get mugged. You will get raped. You're dealing with a bunch of drug addicts. That's the Baltimore County Executive's fault too. Kathy Klossmeyer and Johnny Oshevsky before her. They don't give a damn. There was tents off Dundalk Avenue where they had a bunch of homeless people. Finally, somebody had to say something because it was getting too much. And there's murders in Baltimore City like crazy. Ephraim Gordon, a young Jewish guy who visited his family for the first time, was murdered years ago by 4 thugs. They were found. Some are still in prison, but we don't know what the final result will be. Their sentences may be reduced. That's what Baltimore County, Baltimore City do. They say, it was a black guy, so we have to reduce the sentence. It's all about race with the governor and the mayor, Brandon Scott, and the attorney general. It's all about race. It shouldn't be about race. It's about principle, and it's about the rule of law. I'm so happy that President Trump literally took over D.C. Everybody should be happy. I said last night on the Pulse, as a single woman, I would never walk the streets of D.C. alone by myself. No way. And I'm a reporter, so I'm a bigger target. That's why I try to go to the White House early in the morning, in the afternoon, and I get the hell out. I don't stay there after dark. And people invite me to all these events late at night. I do not do that because I have to park at a garage, and I'm not walking to that garage by myself at night. No way. And sometimes 2 people walking together is not enough. Sometimes you have to have a big group of people to walk with you. But we're targets. We are targets. It stinks. It really stinks. And I can tell you, since the One Big Beautiful Bill was passed, we have 10,000 more ICE agents and more money for ICE and Border Patrol. The recruitment for ICE has been astronomical and phenomenal. More people now are jumping in to the point where the actor Dean Cain, who played Superman, is now an ICE agent. He's serving we the people. He wants to get these illegal criminals out of our country. God bless him. God bless Dean Cain. He should be honored. They should give him a medal. More people should be doing what Dean Cain does. And there's more recruitment in the military. Pete Hegseth said there's been much more recruitment, and they recruit people based on merit. The wokeism is out of the military. He's hashtag had enough of that crap, and they're putting people in based on merit. And we're having wonderful graduates out of West Point and many others that want to start a life in the military and have a life for 20, 30 years. They retire with a beautiful pension. They have VA benefits for life. That's the life that they choose, to sacrifice themselves for our country. They're happy to be fighting for we the people, not fighting for Ukraine, not fighting for Iran, but fighting for American citizens, not illegals, American citizens. And we have the report right here. Next slide. In less than 2 weeks, ICE has received over 100,000 applications from patriotic Americans. I voted for this. Did you vote for this, guys? I voted for it. I voted for this. I love this. I love law enforcement. When was the last time you guys said to a law enforcement agent, thank you for your service? When was the last time you said to a military man, a veteran, thank you for your service? I say it all the time. And you know what? They appreciate it. Because under the Biden administration and Obama, they were underappreciated. And when you have a mayor or a governor that calls for the defunding of police, you don't even feel like putting on the uniform. I've talked to law enforcement officers like that. That's why when I got involved with We Back Blue, which is founded by my friend Melissa Roby, and Tim and I are brand ambassadors, the police officers were crying because for the first time in a long time, they felt appreciated. And Thomas Homan, Borders was our first guest in DC. He walked with us, and we actually got BLM people to support us at the end of the day because they realized the police and the law enforcement are not the problem. The BLM people are. The Democratic Socialists, the George Soros of the world who put these damn groups and rallies together for BLM, they're the problem. It's a good thing that we have law enforcement in our country. It is a good thing that we are making America safe again. And again, real statistics. Third slide. So this is a little small, but I can paraphrase it. At Real Donald Trump, he talks about how Washington, D.C. has one of the highest rates of crime in the world. Not in the country, in the world. More than many of the most violent third world countries. That tells you something. Let me repeat. Washington, D.C. has one of the highest rates of crime in the world. More than many of the most violent third world countries. That is not something that Mayor Bowser should be proud of. But she keeps getting elected. Get rid of her. Get rid of her. Get rid of these liberal mayors, these DEI leaders. That's what they call themselves, DEI leaders. Get rid of them. They do not care about you. They do not care. Excuse me, an itch on my nose. They do not care about we the people. All they care about is making money off the taxpayers and ruining our lives. They don't want law enforcement and border patrol. They want their city to be in hell and havoc. They don't want to put up the money for safety and security. There's attacks that happen in synagogues and churches. I say, where's the law enforcement? Where's the 24-hour security at a synagogue? Oh, we don't have the resources. There's a CVS in Dundalk that I go to off Wise Avenue. They had an assault robbery a few weeks ago. A guy tried to steal perfume. An employee tried to stop him. She got pepper sprayed by the vigilante. It was all caught on camera. It was two guys that were wearing masks. I don't think they've been caught. But they could not get a security guard from Baltimore County to man the CVS because they don't have the budget for it. Because the Baltimore County Sheriff, Fisher, who's a piece of crap, who's been there for so long and doesn't do anything, you don't even see or hear from him, doesn't want to do anything. And the manager of CVS and the owner of the franchise of CVS has called for 24-hour security at this CVS in Dundalk. And he's been denied. So what did they have to do? They had to get a security guard from Harford County, another county, to fill in because they don't have enough police and law enforcement and they don't have the budget in Baltimore County. And how much can a CVS manager pay an officer from Harford County? They shouldn't have to. Why isn't Baltimore County, the sheriff, the chief office, the Baltimore County chief, why aren't they doing anything to stop this? First of all, why didn't they find the vigilante? Second of all, if the CVS manager wants 24/7 security, you provide it to him. And that's the truth. That is the truth. But look at a state like Florida, a state like Arkansas, like Texas, like Arizona, like Mississippi, Tennessee. You don't really hear a lot of crime happening in those states because the governors there and the local officials follow the rule of law and they listen to we the people. My governor, Ron DeSantis, was the first governor to open up an alligator Alcatraz. I've said, let's open up alligator Alcatrazes all over this country. President Trump wants to open up the main Alcatraz in California. Let's do it. Put these mofos in there. And he wants to do it not for illegal criminals. He wants to do it for legal criminals of this country. People that have committed mass amounts of crime. People that have cheated the system. People that have gotten very low sentences. And I agree with Dylan Donaldson. He said, it's funny. People who hate cops that need help don't know what to do. It's true. These damn mayors and governors, they say, I hate police, I defund police. But it's funny. They're protected by law enforcement. Some have even called for extra protection, extra security. They're hypocrites. Big time hypocrites. How can you not have law and order in your country? How can you not want law and order in your city, in your county, and in your state? That's crazy and asinine to me. That's just asinine to me. But I thank President Trump. I thank him. Because promises made, promises kept. He said he was going to make America safe again, and that's what he's doing. But you have moron governors like Governor Wes Moore, who are not going to call the National Guard in Maryland, who say Baltimore is great, even though it's the 4th worst city in the country. Baltimore County is now deemed a sanctuary county. I have been reporting and emailing the White House press corps on a daily basis about Baltimore County. Anything that you read about Baltimore County comes from me. I take the credit for it because it comes directly from me. And I'm very modest about my reporting. But anytime President Trump and his team talk about Baltimore County, that's me. When Pam Bondi sues the state of Maryland, charges Governor Wes Moore, charges Brandon Scott and Attorney General Anthony Brown, that's because of me. When the EPA director comes to Maryland, takes a look at the water, takes a look at Back River, that's because of me. When Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy comes and takes a look at the Francis Scott Key Memorial Bridge, that's because of me. And that's also because of other elected officials that I work with, specifically Tim Fazenbaker, Delegate Bob Long, and candidate for Baltimore County Executive Kimberly Stansberry. All three of us together have been working hard to bring the Trump administration to Maryland, as well as Fort Howard with Secretary of Veterans Affairs Doug Collins. If he comes to Fort Howard, that's because of me and Tim Fazenbaker and Kim Stansberry and Delegate Bob Long. That is Tim Fazenbaker's life's work, is helping our veterans, getting rid of Section 8 housing, making it a national park, a national landmark, rebuilding the VA hospital that was burned in an arsenal fire almost 50 years ago. These are things that I have been talking about, that I have been mentioning to the president and his team, things that Tim has been doing and Kim and many others. We do the work, guys. Again, we are not fake news or not mainstream media. We're the conservative media at the White House. We get the job done. We are not just talk, we are action as well. But again, guys, it's very important. It's very important that we support ICE, Border Patrol. I thank the people that have signed up to be an ICE agent. I thank the people that have signed up to join our military. God bless you. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about other people that are being honored all over the country, and we'll be right back after the break. Oh, and of course, I always forget, My affiliate sponsor, rncstore.com/ALL. That's rncstore.com/ALL. These are nutritional supplements that help with digestion, preventions of cancer, preventions. Also, it helps to improve your immune system. Please, guys, go to rncstore.com/ALL. If you don't put in the discount code, guess what? You don't get a discount. You get 10% off of your entire purchase. Of course, the more you spend, the more you get off. So please go to rncstore.com/ALL. Put in ALL at the end of your purchase, and we'll be right back after the break. Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did. Well, hey guys, welcome back to Alexandra Levine Live on the America's Pulse Network, segment 2. We are going to be honoring some people on my segment and also holding people accountable. This is a phenomenal segment. I just want to say before, I am a political consultant. I own my own political consulting firm, levineconsulting.co. I am working with some great candidates, mostly now on the local and state level, because we are in municipality mode right now, coming up in the 2025 elections in November and the 2026 November elections next year. So please, guys, if you are a serious candidate that is serious about winning, go to levineconsulting.co. That's levineconsulting.co. Book a consultation with me today. You'll be happy you did. So segment 2 talks about President Trump at the Kennedy Center. As you know, I love the Kennedy Center. I used to perform at the Kennedy Center. I'm a professional opera singer and actress and TV and radio personality. And because of COVID and because of the economy, my opera career was cut short. But good news, I'm coming back. I will be singing at the Kennedy Center. I will be at this event in December where President Trump was asked to host it. And he was so cute yesterday at the Kennedy Center. They were talking about, oh, President Trump, who's going to host it? Who's going to host it? And he's like, oh, God, they want me to host it. And I don't really want to host it. But my chief of staff, Susan Wiles, says, Trump, Mr. President, you got to host it. So he's hosting it. And he's so cute. He's like, I haven't really hosted anything, before The Apprentice. He said, I used to host shows, The Apprentice, the finales and The Apprentice. I haven't hosted anything in a while. So he's going to be the host for the Kennedy Center honoree party. It's going to be in December of 2025. And these are just some of the names that were featured or that he honored. So Gloria Gaynor, she was a very famous singer, African-American woman, very famous. She was featured. The band Kiss is actually a Jewish band. They were born in Israel. They have the famous song, I Want to Rock and Roll All Night. And of course, Gene Simmons with the famous Tongue. But they have been honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And they are a very renowned rock group. And then you have George Strait, renowned country singer. And it was so funny when his picture was pulled up, President Trump was like, God, he looks good. I hope he looks the same in person. That's a great looking picture. Oh my God, George Strait sold so many albums, so many songs. The guy made like millions of dollars. The guy is such a famous country singer. And of course, the one that I think everyone recognizes the most is the famous actor Sylvester Stallone. President Trump actually talked about when he first saw the movie Rambo and what a wonderful movie it was. And then how Sylvester Stallone created the character of Rocky. And some of it was based on Sylvester Stallone's life. He was a boxer for a period of time as well, and how he created Apollo and how he created Creed and all the different boxing movies, how he's kept the Rocky Balboa name alive. I remember watching Rocky Balboa when I was a child with my parents, and then, of course, watching the reruns later on because I was so young. But it was a character that shaped Sylvester Stallone. They actually have a bronze statue in Philadelphia dedicated to the character of Rocky Balboa. And every time I go to Philadelphia, I try to, do that famous scene where he's running up to the very top of the building, and he's got the statue. He's like, yay! So it's very famous, and I hope if you are listening, if you've never been to Philadelphia, you go up and you climb up there, or not climb up there, you run up there and touch the Rocky Balboa statue. It's very famous. But this is something that President Trump talked about. As you know, President Trump is the chairman of the Kennedy Center. They've even talked about renaming the Kennedy Center the First Lady Melania Trump Center, which I'm all for. I talked about that last night on the Pulse. But we're having real conservatives, real people, real actors, no woke crap at the Kennedy Center. And it's funny, I laugh at these woke people that don't want to do shows at the Kennedy Center, that are boycotting the Kennedy Center because of President Trump. And I have people in my family that are liberals from Massachusetts, and I told them that I will be singing at the Kennedy Center. And they said to me, they're like, oh, wait a minute, isn't that man in charge of it? Isn't that man the chairman? And I'm like, you mean President Trump? And they're like, oh, yeah. Like, they won't even say his name. That's how deranged these people are. And it's my family. So I'm like, you love your family no matter what, and you shouldn't lose your family over politics. But the fact that they couldn't even say his name is just disgusting. That's why I'm in a group chat with my immediate family, my mom, my sister, my father, my aunt, my mom's sister, that we're all Trump people. So we all think the same. And we're all in this group chat together. And it's great because we all talk about President Trump and, there's no problems. But it's hysterical that Trump derangement syndrome is still alive. And there is a cure for that. It's called, you just leave the country. Seriously, leave the country, turn the TV off, do something different with your life. And it's funny because the people that have Trump derangement syndrome are the ones that are constantly on Facebook and X, and they're reading political stuff, pardon my language, and they're just over-consuming their life with, oh my God, President Trump actually did something for the country. Oh my God, he's a bad guy. It's like, turn off the alerts if you don't want to read it. Just turn it off if you don't want to read it. Go on with your life. Do something else. I mean, I don't get people. You can't even acknowledge that he's the president. Look, I put up with Obama for 8 years. I put up with Biden for 4 years, even though he wasn't the president. We put up with Kamala Harris running for president and her hyena laugh. Republicans didn't have Biden derangement syndrome or Obama derangement syndrome. Didn't exist in our world. We didn't have this wokeism in the Republican Party, transgenderism in the Republican Party, mental illness. I mean, these people are crazy. Again, it's the minority trying to be the majority. But I love the fact that President Trump wants to go into the Kennedy Center, redo it, reshape it, remodel it, make it better, and fix it. Just like he wants to add a beautiful ballroom in the White House. This is what Trump does. He's a builder. He builds things. He's a fixer-upper. He looks at crap, he looks at mud, and he turns it into gold. If you guys have ever been to Mar-a-Lago, it looks like a mini Versailles. Everything he touches turns to gold. And I've been to Trump Tower. I was there in 2013. It's complete gold. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And I've stayed at Trump hotels all over this country, in DC, in Chicago, Illinois, in Arizona, in Las Vegas. Or not Arizona, I'm sorry. He's got a hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. In California, I've been to his hotel. And I've stayed at many of his hotels in Florida. They're beautiful, beautiful hotels, beautiful golf courses. So I thank President Trump for honoring these people. He even mentioned Jon Voight, very good actor, who's America First, supports President Trump, Republican. It's funny, Jon Voight's daughter, Angelina Jolie, is actually leaving the country. Good, get her out of here, sayonara. She's a woke moron. She chopped off both her breasts, and she didn't even have a high percentage that she was going to get breast cancer. It was like a 1% chance she was going to get breast cancer, but she whacked up both her breasts anyway. And she demasculized Brad Pitt to the point where he just had to get the hell away from her because she's crazy. The woman is crazy. She is like deemed certifiable. She's a crazy woman. Crazy. I don't know why Brad Pitt cheated on beautiful Jennifer Aniston with her. he's crazy for cheating on Jennifer Aniston with her, because Angelina Jolie is a moron. But, it's Jon Voight's daughter, so he deals with that. But I'm so happy and humbled that President Trump is reopening the Kennedy Center, working with my friend Rick Grinnell. He's got a huge board that he works with. And J.D. Vance's wife is on the board as well, Usha, so that they can make the Kennedy Center great again. But the second part of my segment is, again, holding one accountable. Breaking news with Nick Sorter. Let's put up this slide. Oh, Nick Sorter, second slide. Sorry, I'm not putting it, but there we go. Thank you. Yeah, we had a first slide. I already talked about it. Now we go into this slide. So breaking news, Melania Trump is threatening to sue Hunter Biden for $1 billion if he doesn't retract his defamatory statements attempting to link her to Epstein. Do it, First Lady Melania. And I agree. So there was a interview that came out. Hunter Biden, a moron, of course, cocaine addict. He's painting his stupid pictures, trying to make money. He doesn't have any. He's broke, by the way. He owes so many people money. He owes people like $60 million. Nobody's buying his paintings anyway. He claims that Jeffrey Epstein set up Melania with President Trump. Now, we all know that's not true. She has stated for years how she met President Trump. She met him at a party. They talked for a little bit. She gave him her number. He called her. She didn't pick up the phone. She actually played hard to get for a while. And they dated on and off for 7 years before they got married. Because she knew a lot about him. She knew who he was. She knew that he was into models. He was into beautiful women. She wanted to make sure he was serious. It was not Jeffrey Epstein that set them up. Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump were not friends. Everybody wants to say they were friends. They worked together. Yeah, they were in the same, how do I say, not arena, but in the same circle, because they're all billionaires. When you're a billionaire or multimillionaire, you're in the same circle. That's how you make money. If you want to make money, you hang out with people that have money. But wealthy people normally hang out with each other. They were not bosom buddies, though. They didn't go play golf together. They didn't hang out together. And the minute that President Trump found out what Jeffrey Epstein was doing at Mar-a-Lago, he banned him from not just Mar-a-Lago, from all Trump golf courses and Trump resorts. He thought that those women, those young girls that he was bringing into Mar-a-Lago were his nieces. He told President Trump those were his nieces. And then he found out later those were not his nieces. And President Trump was not friends with Ghislaine Maxwell either. They were not close. There's no pictures of President Trump hanging with Ghislaine Maxwell, but there's pictures of Ghislaine Maxwell at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. I think Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were closer to the Clintons than they were to President Trump. That's the real truth. So the fact that the Bidens, Hunter Biden especially, this crack cocaine moron, is trying to equate and associate again Trump with Jeffrey Epstein is asinine, disgusting. I hope that she sues him, because she will win heavy. And we know he's not going to retract his statements because he's a crack cocaine moron. The guy is literally saying anything to be relevant. Literally. And thank you, my friend Donald Willinger, for being on the program. Yes, I'm very proud of President Trump too. I agree with you on that. But this is some big stuff, guys. Hunter Biden lying and claiming that Melania Trump was set up by Jeffrey Epstein. Again, I hope that she sues the hell out of him, because I know she'll win. And just before we leave this segment, this is other important news. And I should have put this in breaking news, but Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he's also the interim NSA director, he announced that the United States will officially begin the process of deeming the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization. Now, I already know and knew that the Muslim Brotherhood is a terrorist organization. I'm hoping that they will deem CARE a terrorist organization. CARE is formed and funded by the Muslim Brotherhood. They're all interconnected. CARE, their headquarters are right here in Washington, D.C. They've been up and running since 1994 here in the Washington, D.C. area, and they're nationwide. There's pockets of them nationwide. There's pockets of the Muslim Brotherhood here nationwide. Now, as you know, in Lebanon today, the Muslim Brotherhood, or I'm sorry, not in Lebanon today, that's Hezbollah. In Egypt today, the Muslim Brotherhood does not exist. Under Barack Hussein Obama, he got rid of Hosni Mubarak, who was a personal friend of my grandfather's, put in the Muslim Brotherhood, and caused havoc in the country. That was the opening of the vacuum to the Arab Spring. And then the Egyptian government took back their government and knocked the Muslim Brotherhood out of power. Barack Hussein Obama brought the Muslim Brotherhood into the White House. Of all people, doing a beautiful deal with them. Now the Muslim Brotherhood, it still exists, but it's not as rampant and as big as it was because of al-Sisi in Egypt. But we have pockets of terrorists, illegal terrorists here in our country. Obama allowed them in, and Joe Biden allowed them in. The Mossad, which is the Israeli FBI and CIA, they proved that we have illegal Syrian and illegal Afghan and illegal Iranian refugees into this country. And now we have illegal, criminal Egyptian terrorists in our country. That's what the Muslim Brotherhood is. It's an illegal terrorist crime organization. They're a terrorist organization, always have been. They hate Jews, they hate Christians, they hate anyone that doesn't like them. They hate blacks too. Anyone that doesn't believe in what they believe, they will kill you. They're not your friends. So people that scream out free Palestine, you're catering to them. You're loving on them. But if you spend a day with them, let's see if they love you back. But this is huge. This is huge. I mean, like I said, I've studied foreign policy, Israeli politics for years. I've known the Muslim Brotherhood to be a terrorist organization. I've known CARE, Islamic Jihad, Hamas, Hezbollah, Al-Aqsa Martyr Brigade, the Taliban. These are all terrorist organizations. They need to be deemed terrorist organizations, and they need to be removed the hell out of our country. So thank you, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. I can tell you he is the most pro-Israel Secretary of State we've ever had in the history of our nation. I thank him for supporting our biggest ally, Israel, and I thank him for wanting to keep Americans safe in this country, safe from terrorists. Before we go on a break, don't forget we have the rncstore.com/ALL. That's rncstore.com/ALL. Again, you get a 10% off discount if you use the code ALL. That is my affiliate sponsor. If you don't use ALL, guess what? You don't get the discount. But of course, the more you spend, the more discount you get off. So please, guys, go to rncstore.com/ALL. It is nutritional supplements to help with heartburn, reflux, to help with any digestive issues that you have. It also boosts your immune system. Also helps to prevent cancer. If you do have stage 4 cancer, there has been multiple studies about apricot seeds, how they reduce the risk of cancer, how they reduce your cancer. And there's tons of studies and stories on the website. So please go to rncstore.com/ALL and use the discount code today. And we will be right back after the break.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello. This is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. Thanks for staying with us and sticking with us. I just want to say thank you to all of our followers. We are on 5 media platforms tonight live. We are on YouTube. We are on Truth Social. We are on Rumble. We are on Parler, and we are on TikTok. And the social media of our network just keeps growing and growing and growing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget that we are always looking for other affiliate sponsors and just regular sponsors. If you're interested in sponsoring, go to americaspulsenetwork.com, fill out the sponsorship form, do it today. Also, if you are a fellow podcaster, you've been on podcasts, you want to join our network, go to americaspulsenetwork.com, fill out the podcaster form, and you'll be a part of a great network. And of course, as the commercial stated, I am the White House correspondent for this network. I am the new conservative media at the White House. I get front row seats right to the president, access to the State Department, the DOJ, et cetera, access to Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. It is an honor that we are in the White House. It is an honor that I have the privilege of being there. So please, guys, get more involved with our network. Go to americaspulsenetwork.com, get more involved, become a podcaster with us, become a sponsor with us. And also, please like and subscribe. The more you like and subscribe, the more viewership that we get. And the viewership on our show has been phenomenal. For people that don't know, we have progressed so much since March, and it just keeps going on and on. We started our new show, The Pulse, and that show has done phenomenally well. We've had 20 to 40,000 views just in a very short period of time. And the more that you guys watch our show, it's all word of mouth, guys. So please follow us, like and subscribe us, and tell your friends, tell your buddies, tell your grandmother, tell everybody. So segment 3 really reflects on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So what does that mean? That means taking back our country. That means taking back your state, taking back your district. You know, we talked about California in the first segment. We talked about DC. And, you know, I'm a resident of the state of Florida. Florida is heavily red, heavily Republican. But we were screwed out of 2 congressional districts in the census in 2020. So my governor right now is redistricting a lot of Florida to get back the 2 congressional Republican seats that were supposed to be his. He's not a Democrat where he's just going in and gerrymandering to make it good for him. These were districts that he was guaranteed, same thing with Governor Abbott, and they didn't get them. So they're taking back what was rightfully theirs. That's why the Democrats' talking point of just, you know, saying that the Republicans are gerrymandering, they're stealing districts. Now Gavin Newsom wants to call a special election to gerrymander his state even more. And now possibly Maryland will do the same in other liberal states. It's crazy. They're basically doing what they've been doing for years, constantly gerrymandering the districts. But right now you have areas in liberal states that are very Republican, that are MAGA. There's Republican areas in every single state. But the whole point is you want to keep it MAGA, or you want to expand it, or get a person in there that is really MAGA to really listen to the constituents of the city and the district. So what's going on I bring up Maryland because I have a residency there and I'm doing a lot of work in the Maryland area. But in the Baltimore County area specifically, there are pockets of very hardcore MAGA areas. Like where Tim lives. Tim lives in Dundalk, Sparrows Point, and Edgemere, where it is heavily, heavily Republican, heavily MAGA, heavily America First. And they have had incumbent Republicans in there for years. Now, one of the incumbent delegates is a rhino, hardcore. He's a lying rhino. He tells everyone he's for Trump. He tells everyone he's MAGA, but yet he votes like a Democrat, and he votes with the Democrats. The state senator in Tim's district is also a hardcore rhino. He lies and says he's for God and country, and he loves everybody, and he loves the Jews, and he loves the blacks, and he loves this, and he's like the biggest racist alive. And he loves illegals, by the way. And he stands with Governor Westmore, and he stands with Johnny Oshefsky, the congressman, who's a big liberal moron. So our job is to grow the MAGA movement. Our job is to grow the America First concept. Again, President Trump is the head of the Republican Party. So when you have these hardcore Republican areas, it's time to weed out what they call the bad apples that are in those districts. And Tim's district, as I said, is the most MAGA district out of the whole county council map. And he's running for county council in District 9. It's one of the most MAGA, America First districts on the map. But of course, they want to put a rhino in there to try to defeat him. Why? Why aren't they going with the will of the people? Why don't they want to help him? Because, as I've heard, we are so afraid of Tim going in there because he's going to change up our democracy, change up our losing streak, change up the effery that we've done to the constituents in his area. And Tim is one of the constituents. First of all, we don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. But the fact that they're scared that he's actually going to do the job, that they want to lose, that they're okay with being the minority is sad. And it gives more credence to putting Tim in this position. It is a push and a call to action for his constituents to put him in this position. It is a call to action to certain Republican labor unions and certain developers that are Republican, or even developers that are not hardcore Trump, or union workers that are not hardcore Trump. But it's a call to them that if they want their jobs, if they want to keep going in the right direction, if they want to bring more manufacturing jobs to their plants, or if they need hard workers, or if they want their companies to grow, they need to have Tim in there. And not Democrats or a Democrat light or a rhino that is really a Democrat in there that will do absolutely nothing to help their unions, that will do absolutely nothing to help the workers. Again, it's all about platform. All about platform. What is Tim's platform? His platform is to bring back artificial intelligence jobs back to Maryland, back to Dundalk. They're doing all that in Pennsylvania. Why can't they do that here in Maryland? Maryland actually has to get gas from another state because they bankrupt their own state so badly. Maryland has to go to Pennsylvania because Governor Westmore has screwed up the state so much. Tim's like, everything should be here in Maryland. We shouldn't have to try to run to Pennsylvania. We can follow their lead. We can follow what they're doing. And Pennsylvania has the coal miners. President Trump brought those guys back to work. And then once we bring artificial intelligence jobs here to Maryland, who's going to run them? The people that are in vocational schools, trade schools, which is a big thing that President Trump talked about. Going to college is very expensive. A lot of people can't afford it. A lot of people come out of college in tremendous amounts of debt. You go to a vocational school, you don't have debt. There are plumbers, there are electricians that make a lot more money than doctors and lawyers and financial people. I can tell you that. I work my butt off. I have a master's degree. But people that own their own furniture stores that never went to college are multimillionaires. I've seen it. I believe it. So those kids that graduate from those trade and vocational schools are going to be working at those artificial factories and those artificial job plants that Tim is going to make sure are in the area. And what's the third thing that Tim's platform is? Safety and security. As you know, President Trump just deemed Baltimore County a sanctuary county because of me, but it's the truth. What did Tim do? He called up ICE and Border Czar Thomas Homan and said, hey, we got illegals here at the Home Depot in Dundalk. Let's get rid of them. And guess what? Because Tim cooperates with ICE, they took care of it. Tim is also the HOA president of his community, making sure that his community is always safe. If there's illegals in his community, he's going to call ICE and DHS and get them out of there. His children are head lifeguards at the community pool where he lives. He wants to make sure his children are safe. He's got 4 kids. So this is my point, guys. My point is that keep the districts the way they should be and don't gerrymander them to make them what you feel is going to work best for you. Because if they try to gerrymander Tim's district and make it a Rhino-y district or a Democrat district, which is not going to happen, by the way, but if they ever did, you, the constituent, will lose. And more people will be fleeing Maryland and more people will be leaving Baltimore County, etc. The whole point is that when President Trump took office, he didn't just talk about making this area safe or that area safe. He talked about making it safe for the country. It's about taking our country back. And they're talking about expanding the county council, thinking that it's going to be 5-4 Republican. It's not. It's going to be 6-3. 6 Dems, 3 Republicans. And Tim will be one of those Republicans on the council. My warning is leave Tim alone. Let him be your county councilman. Let him do the work. Let him lead. Let him lead the people to the promised land. Because this is the golden age. This is the golden age. And Tim is going to lead his constituents to that golden age, and he's going to lead them to the promised land. He is the Jacob here. He is the Jacob that God has called upon to lead. Jacob was called Israel for a reason. And Hashem said to Jacob, to Yaakov in Hebrew, he said to him, and this is in Isaiah. This is the prophet now, Isaiah, writing this and saying this. Or not saying this, I'm sorry. He wrote this, and then God said this to Jacob, to Yaakov. He said, if anybody harms you, Jacob, anybody, I will take care of those people that harm you. If anybody tries to hurt you and tries to stop you from leading, they will be dealt with accordingly. That was my haftorah for my bat mitzvah. I read that. It's called Lech Lecha. It was all about leadership and who will be the leader to lead us to the promised land. Who will be the one? President Trump is leading us. But President Trump is looking at the state and local levels too. And who is going to lead the state and local levels to prosperity? Again, politics is local. When you don't have the right people in office on the local level, you get the Brandon Scotts of the world, the Mondavis of the world. You get horrible people in there and you can't get them out. So again, heed God's warning. Do not combat anyone that is positioned to lead the people, or you will get the wrath of Hashem. And I say it to these rhinos that claim that they're God-fearing men, they're pastors, they go to very holy Christian churches, Southern Baptist people, or not people, Southern Baptist churches with hardcore Southern Baptist people that are very godly-like. I say this to the rhinos that claim that they're so godly. If you interfere with God's plan, you will feel the wrath of him. And that's the truth. And we'll put up Tim's picture right now. Nope, not Tim's. No, I'll do that next. Ah, there we go. Tim Fazenbaker, candidate for Baltimore County Council, District 9. Everybody, again, this is God's plan to put him in there. He is the Jacob here. He is the Israel. He's the Yisrael. He's the Yaakov. And you're going to go to timfazenbaker.com. That is timfazenbaker.com. You're going to give a donation to this man. You're going to make sure that he gets in. People have been giving him $200, $250, $300, $500. People are going to be giving to him in the thousands. He is raising money like crazy. He is the man that they want. He's the leader for this seat. So please, guys, go to timfazenbaker.com, timfazenbaker.com. Follow him on X at America1TimFaze, and on Instagram at TimFaze, and Facebook Tim Fazenbaker. He's the guy that's going to lead Dundalk, Sparrows Point, Edgewood to the promised land. But again, the Democrats still don't get it. They're trying to figure out who can we get to run for president in 2028 against J.D. Vance. And now we'll put up the first slide. And we'll show the people who they want. There you go. Many Democrats are now leaning towards a Harris-Buttigieg ticket for 2028. Question to my audience. What's your reaction to that? How do you feel? Do you want a Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg ticket? Now, I can tell you the guy that wants to run against him, the rhino, he loves Pete Buttigieg. He kind of looks like him, actually. Is Pete Buttigieg really qualified to be the president? He was a terrible Secretary of Transportation. Has nothing to do with his sexual affiliation, whether he's gay. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with if he's qualified. That man is totally not qualified. Look what he did to South Bend, Indiana. He was the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and he ruined it. Oh, and a poll came out that he has 0 black support. So how can he win when he has 0 black support? You think Kamala Harris is black support? Hell no. You really think, Democrats, you really think that this ticket is going to win? And the rhinos in Tim's district, you really think by putting up a guy who supports Pete Buttigieg, who has 0% chance of winning and has 0% support by black people, is going to beat Tim? Yeah, right. Think again. I agree with Donald Willinger. He said, I seriously doubt Americans will vote for a Democrat after what we have learned over the past few years. I agree with you on that. I've never voted for a Democrat in my life. Never will. Majority of them are scum. I said that earlier in the program. So, guys, be very careful what the Democrats are trying to do and what the rhinos are trying to do. There's a lot of effery going around. We can't allow the rhinos and the Socialist Democrats to be the heads of our party anymore. We, the people, have to rise up, revolt. It is our liberation day. We need to be victorious, and we need to put the right people in office that will lead us to the promised land. I thank the American people for putting President Trump in there. Now it's time to put other people in there that will back and support him and work with him. Enough is enough. Don't allow rhinos and Democrats to get the best of you. Call them out, vote them out, and don't act like, well, the Democrat or the rhinos are our last resort. If you really care about your country, then you will fight till you will fight. You'll fight to the death if you have to. Well, guys, don't forget to go to Seth Eisenberg's GoFundMe. Our Popeye the Sailor Man, Seth Eisenberg, he was in the hospital for almost a month. He almost lost his foot. It's been very hard for him to get back up on his feet to pay his bills. He has a son that he raises. Wonderful kid, Ryan. He's not even a kid. He's a grown-up. He looks great. But please, guys, go to GoFundMe, Seth Eisenberg, help by donating to Jonah Eisenberg /health/crisis. He's raised over $6,500. The goal is $10K. The initial goal is $100,000. We want to get this man back up on his feet because he's got bills to pay. He's a veteran. He served our Navy. Instead of giving to illegals and criminals and murderers, give to Seth Eisenberg. And our next campaign, Allison Reedy, my friend Allison Reedy, her son, Dylan Reedy, all he wants to do is go to college. All he wants to do is go to one college in Utah, and that's it, to live the American dream. He was falsely accused of something that he didn't do. He was found not guilty. He's just trying to live his life as a young guy going to college. So please, guys, go to givesendgo.com/constitutional and donate to Allison Reedy today. And, of course, you have my very good friend, Lucretia Hughes. Lucretia Hughes has been fighting for her house. She's going through some legal battles right now. Somebody in her family forged her husband's signature to say that they could be thrown out of the house. Their house, she was evicted from her home. Now the house is a warden of the state, and she needs her house back. So she is fighting. She's got attorneys. She actually superseded her goal. Her goal was 10K. She did like almost 11K, and she's going to keep going. This woman is a fighter. She's a patriot. She's a Black America First woman down in Georgia. Please, guys, go to givesendgo.com/retake our home. Continue to donate to her. She will continue to collect donations over the Give, Send, Go hump. What she'll do is she'll add another goal to this so she can expand. But please, guys, she's a great patriot. Givesendgo.com/retake our home. And again, guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe us. We are on 5 platforms now, as I said earlier. So follow us on America's Pulse Network on YouTube, America's Pulse Network on Parler, America's Pulse Network on TikTok, America's Pulse Network on Rumble, and oh my God, did I forget one? So I said, on X, America's Pulse Network on X. And we are just expanding every single day. And of course, don't forget that we have The Pulse every Wednesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. We had a great panel last night. We had the base mother, Elena Barbara, who we love. We had my friend Sean Flaherty, who's the only Republican of the Hagerstown City Council. And we'll have Lucretia on there. We've had Tim Fazenbaker on there. We've had my friend Scott Willens on there. And we're just going to keep rotating wonderful guests. So please, guys, it is a fun panel. It's a great panel. Please, if you didn't watch the show last night, go to our X and our YouTube and go to our platforms and watch the replay. It is awesome. So please, guys, every Wednesday night from 8 to 9 p.m., The Pulse. And, of course, we have The Jersey Shore every Monday nights with my friend Damon Galdo from 8 to 9 p.m. and also Friday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. And he is an awesome guy. Please follow him on Facebook at Damon Galdo, as well as on X at Damon Galdo. And don't forget my friend, Popeye the Sailor Man, the Conservative Corner, Seth Eisenberg, every Sunday night from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Where are you going to be on a Sunday night? You're going to be with Seth Eisenberg at the Conservative Corner. So please, guys, don't forget to follow Seth on Facebook at the Conservative Corner and on X at Conservative Seth. But don't forget to watch his show every Sunday night from 7 to 8:30 p.m. And of course, guys, don't forget to follow me and watch me, Alexandra Levine. You can follow me. I'm very transparent on Facebook, Alexandra Levine. Don't forget to follow me on X at at Alexandra LEVI20. So it's at Alexandra LEVI20 on X, on Rumble at ARLevine85, at Instagram ARLevine85, on True Social ARLevine85, on TikTok ARLevine85, on Parler ARLevine85, on what other, God, I'm on so many platforms. Just find me on Alexandra Levine or AirLevine85. And again, guys, don't forget to go to our website, americaspulsenetwork.com. Join us, be a sponsor with us, be a podcaster with us. You can find all about my biography, Damon, Seth's, everybody, and follow us all on our platforms. Please, guys, this has been a great show. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot. Have a great night.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.